Do we start?
Yes.
Hi, I'm Shikha, and this is my thesis partner, Raha.
Hello.
We both met on the first day of the program and quickly realized that we have the same interests and goals, which is why we've come together to build our thesis project, which is named Safar. Safar means journey in both of our native languages.
So Safar is a native iOS mobile application that's for both travelers and locals alike to discover and plan sustainable trips, specifically in cities. Other than this, users can also use the app to gain insight into the qualities that actually make a place sustainable and are able to provide feedback to the application about the places that they visit, specifically in terms of its sustainability factor. So just a little bit about the stakeholders that we have for this application. Both travelers and locals, as I said, can use the app to discover which places are considered to be sustainable for social, economic, and or environmental factors. The app is also for people who would like to be mindful about where they spend their money without doing it in a way that requires too much effort on their own part. It's also for people who are trying to kind of escape the crowds and have a more local experience. And for local businesses, this is kind of a means to promote themselves and any sustainable practices that they have.
So why tourism? Because tourism is the world's largest industry, but it is also paradoxical in a way that it helps boost the local economy at the cost of social and environmental degradation. The cities listed here are some of the examples of how economic benefits are sometimes outweighed by social costs that they face. These cities depend on the travel and tourism industry as their major source for bringing income into the country. However, these places are crowded by fast food joints, international hotel businesses, souvenir shops, while the locals here are shooed away by the constant visitor footfall.
So I mentioned that we are kind of addressing overcrowding, and the reason for this, a statistic that we have is that 55 of the UNESCO World Heritage Sites are currently listed as in danger, and a root cause of this is related to the overcrowding because of influx of tourists. We're also, as we said, focusing on cities, and this is because 1.6 billion international tourists are expected to arrive in cities each year by 2020. And we also are trying to facilitate this local experience, and that's because 91% of travelers have said that they now want to live like a local when they go somewhere.
So why sustainable tourism? Because as the environment is becoming more important to people over the last decade, companies around the world are trying to cash on people's willingness to spend money in the name of environmental protection, which they term as ecotourism. But much of ecotourism is mainly greenwashing and overhyped attempts to be viewed as green. It's mainly about not damaging the environment and providing little education, while sustainable tourism is about living and growing with the environment and the local cultures. And you don't find this with the big companies. They hire local staff, but that does not mean that they're giving back to the local economy, because much of these international businesses export all the income made abroad. So we're focusing on sustainable tourism because it aims to provide a positive experience for local people, tourism companies, and tourists themselves. And the concept of sustainability can be applied both in urban and rural areas. So to quickly narrate the process that we followed for our thesis, we identified the problem and the stakeholders and put them in domain clusters. We also interviewed people like Molly from the Tishman Environmental Design Center and Scott from 100 Resilient Cities to help identify the pain points. We also did a heuristic evaluation of precedences to develop some of the features of our app. We took features such as endorsements from LinkedIn. We looked at the user experience of Google Trips and Lostin. And we also evaluated the aesthetics and the UI of apps such as Lifezone. Based on the research and the precedent analysis, we came up with initial sketches of our app. We created a storyboard in order to map the user journey. And then we quickly iterated prototypes. We tested them with users, and we've been developing it over the last 1 year. And this entire process has been in constant loop. So to give you a background of some of the iterations that we focused on last semester, we were trying to explore features such as exploring via the map, giving overcrowding notifications to travelers at specific places, and filtering by categories with the help of icons. However, we've moved away from the use of icons because people from different cultures were getting confused. And using only text would help us internationalize the app because we could then translate this in different languages. We also looked at providing rewards and incentives when you check into a particular place. Our iteration 2 was focused on creating trips for multiple cities, providing recommendations for itineraries based on the current location and the time of the day. We explored different kinds of search features, and we also provided wise tips on the detail page in order to tell the tourists things they should not be doing. I'm going to now take you through the demo of the app.
I'll make this bigger.
So once the user has logged in,
Come on.
sorry.
Password. Just a tip for future, just do a video screen run and for this in the future. And
Yeah.
just like run it and then like hyperspeed it. It's
Sorry.
Especially if you're gonna go for the pitch, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Just have a demo ready. That's a video.
Sorry. This one's already logged in. Okay. Oh, the Wi-Fi was off. Sometimes that's why it wasn't working. Where is it? Big time is not. There's something going on. Sorry about that.
So once the user is logged in, you land on the landing page, and here you can discover various features of the recommendations of the app, categorized under sustainability, food spots, events, and shopping areas. The user can discover and explore places in 100 plus cities. You can also tap on the navigation bar and view your location or different neighborhoods that you want to explore. If you're a local and you want to search for something specific, you can tap on the search bar on the top. Or if you're a tourist and you're not familiar with the area, you can tap on things to do now and see information categorized as green spaces, food, culture, and shops. You can also browse through these categories, tap on it, and see the information in further detail. So you get information about the place, you get context in terms of where it is geolocated. You also have a section for the sustainability of this place. So you can view how this place has been endorsed for various sustainability practices. And if you want to endorse it, you could do that in the app. And this may be based off any information or any poster that you've seen at the place, or you may know the business from before, or you probably know the owner. And by endorsing this, you're helping us create the first database of sustainable places in the world. We also have a popular times feature on the app which helps tourists have a local experience by moving away from the crowds, or generally giving you an idea of the best times to visit a place. The user can also get directions to this place with existing navigation apps. For example, here in Google Maps, you can navigate from your location to the place.
We also have an itinerary where you can basically either add things to a favorite section or create a new itinerary and say you want to make it for Brooklyn. You go into there and you can add places to this itinerary. Okay, and then you can move things around and delete things and then view the route on a map. Also in the section with the ... which is basically settings, you can also nominate a place. Say you just started up a new local business and you have certain sustainability practices that you think would be something that could be involved in this application. You can nominate your business and include it here. And now I want to show you guys more about that map section for the itinerary because this was something that we haven't finished completely coding. So after you've built your own itinerary, you can view the exact same stuff on a map and you can do the exact same functionality. You can delete these things or you can add more places to your journey from here. But this is for people who prefer to view things on a map versus a list. Then we have these four places four categories that we mentioned: the green spaces, culture, food, and shops. And basically for each of these, we've for now defined just 5 sustainability factors. The ones that are currently in bold are unique to each of those factors. So for green spaces, we have things like use of mulch, worm composting, native plants and trees are being used there. For food, it's seasonal menus or locally sourced food, and so on. So for now, we've just left it at 5, but down the line, people would just be able to add their own.
And based on the user testing we've been doing over the year, from my recent user testing, we've got feedback as to how the users have enjoyed the content as sustainable and mindful. They like the itinerary and the map views and find them very intuitive. To endorse a place to make it more sustainable was a little confusing to most users, so we worked on changing the language we were using. We also got suggestions in terms of the things to do now section could have categories based on their preferences, but due to our technical limitations, we haven't built that. And overall, after testing with about 10 users, we got a sustainability rating of 4 out of 5 and an overall travel app rating of about 4.5. And we'd like to thank Jess, Louisa, and Brad, who have been our instructors over the year.
Thank you.